Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Tech Talk. I'm Janki Gattu, a GIS specialist from GIS Enterprise Solutions Private Limited. GIS Enterprise Solutions Private Limited is an ISO 9001 and 2015 certified organization, and we are also ISRI partners. Today, I'm going to present you a Tech Talk on determining risk for disaster response using GIS. And I will answer all your queries at the end of this session. And we will be sending you a recorded version of this Tech Talk on your email who are attending this Tech Talk today. The agenda for today's Tech Talk is there are a lot of natural calamities and disasters which occur very often in every part of the globe. And they require evacuations for many safety reasons. But most of the times, a large portion of the population ends up not knowing where to go, how to reach. As such, there will be a loss in the population. So, in today's Tech Talk, we are going to address this problem by determining the risk zones when a disaster is going to happen. And we are going to plan the evacuation routes. And there are many specific reasons. There will be some people who would like to stay back despite an evacuation order from the government. Why? Because there can be children, there can be disabled people, or there can be ill people, or there can be people who wanted to stay back for their loved ones in the home. In today's Tech Talk, I'm going to present you what is site suitability and how to create a web map and a web map for a disaster, and how to perform suitability analysis on your web map, which will help the emergency workers to respond better in the areas that are at higher risk and prevent the people from the high risk areas and move them to the low risk areas. So this is a map which I'm going to present you today in the demonstration, which will show you the high risk areas and the low risk areas and how the emergency response workers will respond to the map by utilizing this web map, which we are going to create this morning. So let's talk about site suitability analysis. So the name itself is going to tell you in order to determine a site and its suitability, we are going to perform analysis. So it can be identifying a best place to land an emergency helicopter in terms of a disaster or in terms of a calamity. Or it can be finding out the best place to construct an apartment in a new housing development area. Or it can be finding out the potential wildlife habitat areas. It can be finding out the optimal routes, or it can be finding out the best route for a pizza center person to deliver a lot of pizzas in a given amount of time. And there are various other uses as well, which we'll be using on a day-to-day basis. So in order to perform the site suitability analysis, first thing is you need to have data. What kind of data do you need to have? You need to have spatial data. And on top of the spatial data, you're going to perform spatial analysis. So the true power of any kind of GIS will live in the ability on how you perform the analysis and how you derive insights out of the GIS data that you have. So spatial analysis by definition is a process in which you see the problems and model the problems geographically and derive the results by processing it and then exploring and examining those results. In today's Tech Talk, I'm going to present you a demonstration on how to take the data from a data source or from the available sources of authentic sources of data that you have, and then how you run the analysis and how you solve a real-time problem. So first thing is you need to have your spatial data where you're going to explore the spatial data. And then once you have the data in order, you're going to use various GIS tools to perform spatial modeling, and then you're going to solve a spatial problem. So performing suitability analysis that can help emergency response workers to respond to the areas with the highest risk area. So normally when you see a map, and in the cases when you want to run a suitability map or suitability analysis map or emergency response map or a disaster map, you will basically find out the pattern in which the disaster is occurring, the pattern in which you can save the resources, or the trends in which the disaster is occurring. And it will help, all these maps will help the decision maker to take quick decisions in the right time. So this entire process is called as spatial analysis process. So let's deep dive into demonstration and see how we can map a disaster like a flood. And we see various kinds of flood zones, the highest flood zone, lowest flood zone, and the medium flood zone, and how we can evacuate the people from the highest flood zone to the lowest flood zone. And for this, I'm going to use RGS Online software, and I have logged into my RGS Online account. And then now I want to create a web map as such. I'm going here to map, and then this is going to be an empty map. And here I am not going to use any kind of data which I have created. I'm trying to use the data which is already existing in RGS Online account or on the RGS Living Atlas. And today I am going to take my area of interest as Houston, Texas, and here I am going to take the evacuation zones, the population in that area, the kind of demographic people that live in that area, and the flood information in that area. And then I'm going to perform spatial analysis, and then I'm going to derive various layers. And from these layers, I'm going to create a web map, and that is going to help the emergency response workers to respond in time to the people and to save their lives. So let's start. And as I told you, I wanted to work this particular task in Houston, Texas area. So I'm using my search bar, and this is going to be my area of interest. So next I wanted to add the data. So I can add the data by searching the data. So search for layers, and I would like to add the data from RGS Living Atlas. So I want an urban area because urban areas are densely populated. So I'm just clicking on world urban areas, and then I'm going to add the data which will give you the boundary of the Houston area. So you got that Houston area boundary, right? And then what we're going to do today, we are going to see the floods, where are the high risk areas and the low risk areas. So I'm going to search for the flood zones in that area, and I'm going to add that particular information here. Okay, and then so I have the flood information here. And then so for the people to evacuate from the flood zones, they need to know the evacuation route. So I have an evacuation route which is created by the federal user community. So I'm just trying to add that information here. And these are the lines which you're seeing, or the hurricane evacuation routes. And I also need to understand what kind of population are staying in that area, so that I'll understand if they have a vehicle or if they don't have a vehicle. Why do you need a vehicle is because we need a vehicle for easy evacuation of the place. So I am searching for the Houston demographics, and I'm going to add the demographic information here. So I have added the demographic information here, and these are the 4 different types of layers which I have added here. So let me bring the census tags down so that it can help me better understand how it has to be. Okay, so it seems to be very dark in color. So let me change the symbology here to a different color. So I can make it a bit transparent so that it is not so dark. And I'm clicking on OK, clicking on done. And if you see here, the flood zones are also in very dark color. So let me make it to a light blue shade. Okay, so I'm going to give that here, and clicking on OK, and then done. And I want the urban areas also to be on a pleasing color. So let me go ahead and let me change the color here. And outline, maybe I will go with uh, so this is how my area is, and these are the evacuation routes and everything. So I'm done with changing the symbology and the styles here. So let's go ahead and see like what is the census tract information has. So it has the tract name, county, state, population, total population under 15, total population which are having age more than 65 years of age, and who are below the poverty line, and who has a vehicle and who doesn't have a vehicle. So I have a lot of other information here in the attribute data. So I'm going to perform the analysis now. Okay, so for this what I have to do is I just need to go by an option called filter here. So I'm just filtering the name here by Houston area. So I can take Houston area, and then I can apply and zoom to the area. So this is my defined area of interest. And if you open the attribute table and see, you will have just one record. So let me open this, and let me open the filter again. Houston, yes. Okay. So I have one record, and that Houston is in US. So it is showing me that information. So this is our area of interest which we're going to work on. And now we are going to give certain criteria for seeing like how we can map the high risk areas. So in order to perform this analysis, so I can come to this census tract information, and I am going to create expressions. So how do I do that? For this, I want to derive highest risk areas. So I'm going to analysis, I'm going to find locations, I'm going to derive new locations, and I'm going to click on add expression, and I want the census tract demographics, where the owner, this where attribute, and here we have something called owner or renter households without a vehicle. If it is greater than to 12 to 13, then I need those areas. And again, I wanted to see this census tracks is intersecting with the old urban areas, so I can get the population, and then I am going to see the census tract demographics is within a distance of 0.25 miles from the flood zones, so that people are more affected because they are very close to the flood zones area. So I'm going to give this map as uh, highest risk layer, and I'm going to store in disaster risk response using GIS, and I'm going to check the credits, how many credits it is going to consume. So, and then I'm going to click on run analysis. As it is running on the cloud, it will take a bit of the time for the system to process the layer and to give us the highest risk mapping zones in Houston area, so that we can see like where people are mostly affected in those areas. Okay, let's wait for the system to process, and then we can proceed. So let me turn off all these layers in the meantime so that you can clearly see where the flood zones are. And in the meantime, if you have any further questions, I request everyone to put all your questions in the chat window so that at the end of the session, I'll try to answer all your queries. And if you feel like you wanted to change a base map at the bottom, you can always do that. So click on here on the base map, and then you can see the base map here. So but now, as of now, I'm okay with this, whatever the map which I'm having, the base map is okay. And can you see here the highest risk maps are mapped in this color? So let me change the symbology and let me show you it in dark red color, because the symbology shows that uh, uh, these are the very high risk areas. So let me go here and let me remove. So so if you see here, these are the areas which are having high risk. Okay, because these are near to the flood zones, and it is less than 0.25 miles, and we have huge population staying in this area. So now what we can do is we can I can click on this, and you can see like where the high flood zones are, the flood zones are near to that only, you have like a lot of uh, high risk here. So you can see that here, and even you can see the census tax. So let us suppose I would like to click here, and you can see here the census tax information. Okay, so it is exactly matching to our criteria. So this is our highest risk map. Now we are going to generate the next risk map. So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to again rerun the same expression which we have done earlier. But I would, whenever I click the rerun process, I'll get the same kind of criteria which I've given earlier here. So I'm going to change a bit of this criteria, and then I'm going to modify it. So I want the Houston census tract demographics where owner or renter is in between some value like 107 and 213. So these are the people who are in the medium risk. And then I am going to see like the demographics are interacting with the world urban areas, and they are within 0.25 miles from the uh, have county flood zones, right? And then I am going to add an expression, one other expression, that demographics are not within a distance of 1 mile from the hurricane evacuation routes. Not within 1 second. Are not within a distance of 1 mile from the hurricane evacuation routes. Click on add. Okay, and then I want the demographics within a distance of 0.25 miles from the flood zones. So these are the 4 criteria which I have, and then I am going to rename this as a medium high risk map, and then I'm going to check the credits, and then I'm going to run the analysis, so that it is like 1.82, and then it will show me the areas which are of medium risk. So it will take a bit of time for the system to process it and to give us the medium high risk zones. Okay, and then we will work on the medium risk map, and then medium low risk map, and the low risk map. Next, that is what we are going to generate by rerunning the same analysis and by changing a bit of the expressions in the expression window. So if you have any questions, you can ask me, you can unmute yourself, and you can ask me any further questions if you have. So I got this medium risk map, and you can see the ones which are in this blue color, which are having medium high risk zone. So let me change the symbology to a color which can make more sense. So these are the medium risk maps. So I'm going to rerun the analysis, and I am going to generate the medium risk map from the medium high risk map. So I am going to keep almost the expressions in the same way, and here I am going to change this expression. So I'm from not within a distance of I'm changing it to within a distance of 1 kilometer miles from the evacuation routes, and I'm clicking on OK, and I'm renaming this map as a medium risk map, and then I'm going to click on run analysis for the system to run the analysis and show me the medium risk layer here. So once it gets processed, it will just get added to the contents tab here, and we'll be able to see the medium risk layer here. And depending on the symbology, we can change the symbology if we need. In the earlier one, I wanted to just change the outline. So maybe I'll just give this line width as 1. So we are waiting for the medium risk map to be generated. And then after this, we are going to generate the medium low risk and the low risk map. So when we generate the low risk map, we will understand the areas with the lowest risk, which means the people can stay in that area. So we can evacuate the people from the high risk areas, which you are seeing in the dark red color, to the areas which are having low risk. And what I wanted to suggest you is, whenever you run the analysis, it is always better to check like how many credits is it getting consumed. And I am always running the analysis here within the current extent which you are seeing on the screen, or else it will take a lot of time for the system to process the data, and it will also consume a lot of your credits, and it would be very difficult to stop it back. Okay, come on, come on. So we're waiting for the medium risk layer to be generated. It's taking a bit more time than it used to be. So these are our evacuation routes, and this is our urban area in which we are doing the analysis. And these are our flood zones. So let me make this little transparent so that it would be more aesthetic. So later on, if we wanted to prepare a web map so that it can help the emergency response workers to respond for in time. So what I can do is, in the meantime, I can perform save as and disaster risk response. GIS, and I can write the summary, and I can use tags here. And then I'm going to save this map. So whatever I currently have, uh, it will get saved here. The system is taking a bit longer time than it usually has to be. And if you want to create a web map, we can create a web map by sharing it. Let me refresh the screen once. I think the medium risk got cancelled. So what I can do is I can rerun the medium high risk map again, and I can perform that analysis. So here I can change this. The demographics are not within a distance. I'm going to change within a distance of 1 mile from the evacuation routes, and I'm going to rename this as a medium risk, and I'm going to click on show credits, and I'm going to run the analysis. Okay, so a medium risk layer is being generated, and it is going to get added up here. So let me save this. So it is always better to keep saving your data. It is not like we lose the data, but it is a best good practice to save the data. Okay, now I got my map, the medium new risk map, and I'm clicking on here, and you can see whatever is in dark blue or in the medium risk zone. And let me change the symbology here. So maybe something into yellow, will be able to see the medium risk areas. So this is the one which I have, and I am going to perform the medium low risk analysis. So I am clicking the rerun analysis here, and low risk is like here earlier we were taking that owner or rent without vehicles is between this one, so not 7 and 1 not 213. Now I'm going to take all the people who where the value is less than 107, and I want that intersection of the demographics and the world urban areas, and I want to ensure that the demographics are within a distance of 0.25 miles, and I also want this one host and track demographics that are not within a distance of 1 miles. Can click here and click on OK. So I have everything here, and I can mention this as medium low risk, and I can click on run analysis for the system to run the medium low risk layer. So I'm just saving this, and later on I will share this I'll share this web map of for creating a web map using the web app builder. So it is taking a bit of time for it to process the layers. So just wait for the system to process this. Yeah. So yeah, now I got the medium low risk maps, and you can see the dark blue ones or the medium low risk ones, and I'm going to change the symbology here of the medium low risk. So, and you can see like the medium low risk areas, and I'm clicking on OK, I'm clicking on done. Now let me generate the low risk map area. So the layer, so here this is without owners without vehicles is less than 107 is okay. The intersection between demographics layer and world urban areas is also okay, and demographics within a distance of so let me change this 1 mile from the evacuation routes, and then uh, this demographics or within a distance of 0.25 miles from the flood zones, and then I can rename this layer as low risk map, and I can click on run analysis, and let's wait for the system to generate a low risk map. So you can see the high risk areas are in dark red color. So from there, like we have to move the people from that high risk area zone to the low risk area zone to the layer which we are going to generate now. Perfect. So we have got our low risk layer, and if you see the symbology, it's in dark blue color. So let me open the symbology and let me give a different color to it, and then we can see the low risk areas. So let me turn this off, and you can see the low risk areas are shown in this pink color. So all you have to do is we have to create a web map for the emergency response workers to take this web map into consideration and move the areas who are living in the dark red zones to the light pink zones in order to prevent the lives of the people. So before I go ahead, I have to save all the layers and then I have to click on share. You can share it just with your own groups or with everyone you like. So I'm sharing it with all the groups that I have. And then I want to create a web map for the disaster. So I'm using the web app builder and I'm going to get started with this, and I can select the layout template in which way I would like to present the information. And this web map which I'm going to create is compatible for your desktops and your mobiles, so you can view in any of the screen that you use. So I have this one. I can change this, and so what I can do is I have selected this theme, and my map is this web map, and I'm going to keep the same extent, and I'm going to have different kinds of widgets, and I'm going to select the widget. So first widget I'm going to add, click on the add data icon so that I can use that. And I'm clicking on the second widget, so I want the base maps to be changed if required. And I'm going to the third widget, and I would like to perform some kind of analysis. So I am going to take the geoprocessing widget here. So if you have any service, you can give the service, or you can take it from RGS Online. So if you don't have, just leave it as it is, and then go for other options. Like if you want to have uh, uh, layer list, yes, you can have a layer list. Okay, click on OK, and then I'm going to add a new widget. If you want to find the directions, yes, you can have the directions because you have to evacuate the people. So I'm keeping that one. And the other widget which you can add is maybe you want to monitor an area very frequently, so you can bookmark that area and you can see it properly. So this is my web map, and so prepared by GIS, so I can keep this as it is, and let me save the web map which I've created. And if you want to have a preview, you can have a preview on your desktop or on your tablet PCs or on your mobile PCs, and you can actually give this QR code to anyone who wants to use this application. If you want to have see it in a mobile view, yes, you can see that on a mobile view. This is how on a mobile view it presents. And if you want to see it on an iPhone like 4S, if you want to see it on iPhone 8, yes, you can. So you have various things, and if you want to see it on the Surface Pro and all, so you have various options here where we can show you the data. So I'm good with everything here, and I've saved it, and then I just click on launch, and you can see the web application for disaster risk response for floods using RGS tool. And this is the one which you're going to share it with your emergency response workers for saving the lives of people from the high risk areas to the low risk areas, which are highlighted in light pink color. So let's use this map and protect the lives of the people. And if you have any questions, you can ask me all the questions if you have. Else, you can please reach us on janki@reducesenterprise.com for any other queries. And you can also WhatsApp us on 9493880670. For further queries, you can please visit our website www.usis.co.in. And thank you all for joining us this morning and making this Tech Talk a success. See you all in the next week.